So, Assalamualaikum and good morning to the head of department, Dr. Fakri Zaki, all the lecturers and all the students of Akiputra. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the delightful morning event where we have the honor of hosting a distinguished speaker who has significantly contributed to the architectural beauty of our beloved city, Putrajaya. Our featured speaker for today is none other than Haji Architect Nik Arshad Nik Mohammed, a creative Malaysian architect who showcases the charming beauty and architectural creativity of Putrajaya. Among the many remarkable structures, the Tuanku Mizan Zainal Abidin Mosque stands out as a testament to Malaysian architecture's brilliance. This sacred building, fondly known as the Iron Mosque, not only boasts a magnificent structure, but also incorporates a unique cooling system that eliminates the need for our air conditioning and fans. Thanks to GKD's SK stainless steel mesh, the mosque carries a special atmospheric quality. Named after the 13th young Dipertuan Agong Alawatikubillah Tuanku Mizan Zainal Abidin, this mosque can accommodate up to 20,000 worshippers. Construction began in April 2004 and concluded in August 2009 under the visionary guidance of Haji Architect Nik Arshad Nik Mohammed. Our esteemed speaker, Haji Architect Nik Arshad Nik Mohammed, graduated with honors in architecture and has been involved in numerous prestigious projects, including the Tuanku Mizan Zainal Abidin Mosque, Neo Istana Negara Jalan Duta, and others. His dedication to the design process and project management has left an indelible mark on Malaysia's architectural landscape. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm welcome to Haji Architect Nik Arshad Nik Mohammed, who will share his insights in a captivating lecture entitled "And We Give You Shade of the Clouds." Sit back, relax, and prepare to be inspired by the brilliance of Malaysian architect.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Good morning. Assalamualaikum, Dr. Fikri, is it? Dr. Zaki, sorry. Dr. Salah, thank you very much for having me here this morning. As you can see, I'm a bit nervous also. It's the first time I'm lecturing or giving a talk to students. Anyway, I've been a director with Kumpulan Seni since 2002. I joined Kumpulan Seni in 1996. We've been fortunate Next slide. Kumpulan Seni has been fortunate that over the years we've been given some. Oh, Dr. Sumani, I didn't realize you were here. Sorry. Yeah, she was with us for a while. We've been fortunate over the years that we've been given some commissions that are how do I put it, important buildings in Malaysia, and we try to do our best, and Alhamdulillah we are where we are right now. This is our office building. We are located in Kuala Lumpur, Jalan Jalaud, across the Mala building and Pertama complex. Next. This is our office lobby. Basically, I will be talking a bit about what we have done, about our current projects, and mainly I will be talking about the Tuanku Mizan Mosque. Next. Next. Bank Negara was one of the first main projects that we first iconic projects that we have done. This was way back in the early 70s. Next, by our principal. Then Pusat Islam, Kuala Lumpur. Next. This is the National Planetarium near Lake Gardens area. Pusat Islam Johor. All these were in the 80s. Then in the 1990s, we completed the KL Tower, Islamic Arts Museum near the National Mosque. This is the State Assembly building in Johor, Kota Iskandar, Johor, which we completed it about 12 years ago or so. Next. And opposite that is the Menteri Besar's office complex in Kota Iskandar. Next. In Putrajaya, I completed the Istana Darul Ihsan for Sultan Selangor. This is in Precinct 8. Istana Negara. This project was done at the same time with the Tuanku Mizan Mosque. So that period between 2004 and 2011 was a very busy period for me. Next. Astro Tower, this is in the 90s. This is KL Central, the Platinum Central building, campus-style office building. We completed this in collaboration with Philip Cox of Australia. Damansara City, in the heart of Pusat Bandar Damansara. Sofitel, also a part of Damansara City. This is closer to home for you guys. we did this. Next. And this. Yeah, and then we also completed the Rajatun Uda Library, State Library for Selangor. This is in Shah Alam. One of the early mosques that we were successful at was the Masjid Muhajirin, I think it's called, in Bandar Sri Damansara. We also did the Putra Mosque, this late 90s. And of course, Tuanku Mizan Mosque, which was completed in 2009. Masjid Istana Diraja is a small mosque for the Sultan of Selangor in his Istana Alam Shah grounds. Masjid Diraja Tuanku Ampuan Zahra, I think this is called, or in Bukit Jelutong. The Ara Damansara Mosque, which I call the Little Steel Mosque, because it's also all steel structure, was done after the Tuanku Mizan Mosque. Masjid Kota Iskandar, next to the State Assembly building. This is a mosque in a garden, garden in a mosque concept kind of thing, or garden is the mosque concept thing. And recently we completed the Masjid Raja Lumu in Kuala Selangor. Small mosque, is extension of an existing mosque, and it was recently officiated by the Sultan and His Royal Highness the King himself. This is in Seremban 2, Bandar Sri Kalkosa, one of my earlier projects I was doing, housing. Next. Sinaran TTDI in Tabantun. Next. We do quite a bit of hospitals as well. This is the early hospitals that we did. Subanjaya Medical Center, I think it's called something else now. Phase 1 and Phase 2, Ampang Putri. Next. Putrajaya Hospital. Next. And Maternity Hospital in Kuala Terengganu. Next. This was my first project. It's a factory in Bukit Beruntung. It's a pretty big factory for Ingress Technologies. Like they do car parts for Perodua and Proton and all that stuff. Next. On to our current projects. Next. We are now trying to complete this. It's been a long going. This is the Conrad Hilton Hotel. Conrad Hilton Hotel in Jalan Sultan Ismail, Kuala Lumpur. It's a 5-star plus hotel, 400 plus rooms. Construction has been ongoing for 10 years. There's so many problems in this project. Next. This is the office tower that we are doing for Pelabuhan Hartanah Berhad. It has some similarities to Tuanku Mizan Mosque. It has a sort of a screen in front. Because the client wanted something Malay to be injected into the building. So we came out with this songket pattern screen, abstracted from the Teratai Pecah Lapan songket. Next, this is in Bangsa. Then we're also doing this museum stand in Shah Alam. but the contractor is about to be terminated. Okay, next. This, we are just starting on this. This is the extension to the Raja Tun Uda library, the Shah Alam library. So this is phase 3. Phase 2 is actually on the left side across the lake, which is the car park. So this is the phase 3 of the mosque. Sorry, of the library. Okay. Masjid Tuanku Mizan. Okay. We started this project, I think we were commissioned this project in late 2002. Just next slide. Okay, basically we were talking a bit about the brief, the site, and our design strategies, what our concepts are, and some detailed design, some more photos and stuff like that. The brief given to us was quite simple. Like, they wanted a city mosque with 20,000 capacity with just support areas. That's all. You know? That's all. They said this is the second mosque. It cannot be bigger than the Putra Mosque, but it's actually bigger in terms of capacity. Putra Mosque is about 15,000. This is 20,000. But facilities-wise, it has to be less. Okay, fine, no problem. Okay, next. Okay, the site. Next. They gave us this photo, this aerial photo of the site, and when we saw this, you know, okay, this immediately we can see there's a very clear axis that existed, created by the development of the Palace of Justice, the Perbadan Putrajaya site, and the mosque, where the mosque is going to be. So that's very important, you know, because it actually starts with the Palace of Justice, and it has to terminate at the mosque. So no, our initial thoughts, yes, it's got to be something something that can be what do you call this? Well, a termination, a proper one, proper building designed to terminate that axis. Next. These were the photos, early photos taken by us. You can see when we were starting the Palace of Justice, the dome was already up and it was quite imposing already by then, flanked by the two wings of the PJC complex. Next. They showed us this. Our clients were Perbadan Putrajaya, so they showed us this. This is their office building. And when we saw it, oh, it's a very nice office building, very modern, you know, very different from the Palace of Justice. This the concept architect is Zaini Dubus Research or something like that, ZDR. But they were the concept architects, but there are 3 implementing architects for it. Architect I think, and the other one of them is us. We were doing the one on the right there, the convention hall. The auditorium was done by, I can't remember who. Anyway, they showed us this and we were impressed by it. I mean, it's a very modern building. Okay, fine, that helped us a lot. Next slide. Then they showed us this. And when we saw this, we were like, alamak. You know? I mean, this is an artist's impression. You know? But it tells a lot, this picture. It tells a lot about what people think or people view of what a mosque should look like. You know? It's a very traditional looking mosque you can find anywhere in Malaysia. In a way, this picture tells us a lot of things of what we should or should not do. You know, so we took this cue and then we saw the Badanan building very modern. So let's see, we'll do something different. We're not going to do this. Putra Mosque is already quite traditional, so let's do something very different. Next. Design strategies. Okay, next. The first thing when we embarked on our design, we came across this guideline. I don't know when this guideline was written, but in 2002, when we were looking at it, only one mosque in each state can be air-conditioned. You know, at that time, Wilayah Persekutuan, the only mosque, the mosque that was being air-conditioned was the Wilayah Mosque. Okay, if you take Putrajaya, a different Wilayah Persekutuan, fine, okay, we can take that. But Putra Mosque was also being retrofitted to be air-conditioned already, so we cannot air condition our building. We had to stick to that. So we came out, we just doodled some our ideas on paper. What mosque is, how do we achieve comfort in a mosque that cannot be air conditioned? How do we cool the interior? These are important points. How do we achieve a space that is truly khusyuk for the prayers? By having a lofty space, maybe. And we bring it, and the idea of bringing water as part of the architecture was an important element, because water has always been closely associated with Islamic architecture. And water is also, the initial of water is also a reflector of heaven. It's a temperature regulator. It's psychologically comforting to see water. So man has always had this insatiable need to see and hear water. It will automatically cool or relaxes you down, but not the what Hawaii 5.0 type of waves lah. Just the cool, slow moving water. Next, we study a site. Our mosque is about 8 acres. Then we have this empty site. We have the Perbadanan site. The idea of the mosque, the city mosque, is that the Jemaah will be coming from all these offices at the core island, the Palace of Justice, the Perbadanan Mosque, and all the other mosques coming to the site. So Putrajaya being touted as a garden city, a pedestrian-friendly city. When we looked at this, one, the mosque is on a lower platform. Two, if you have to go to the mosque, you have to cross 2 roads. We don't know how heavy that road is going to be. But the main thing for me is the fact that the mosque is located on lower platform. That bothered me a bit, because the other 2 buildings on that axis is actually on higher platform. It's like you're not showing respect to the mosque. People have to go down to the mosque. Next. So people have to go down to the mosque, and I felt that it's not right. The mosque should at least be on par, on the same level as the other 2 buildings. Next. So what if we raise the mosque to be on the same level? Remember the requirement for 600 car parks? 600 car parks will take 1/3 of my site. So that means if it's on the ground, 1/3 of my site will be car park. How am I going to fit 20,000 people? It's going to have to be a multi-story building also. We can't go down into to have basements because of the close proximity to the lake. So we have to think differently a bit. So what if we raise the building to be on the same level? By doing so, we automatically create this space beneath for these other requirements, the car parks, the wudu area, the ablution areas, the toilets, the changing rooms. And when we did that also, we had a lot of space lah, that suddenly. So then we thought, we spoke to Perbadanan, we told them, why don't we just have a function room as well, because people are bound to want to get married here, some of them, So okay, fine, function room was added, and then we added some retail, because mosques, they don't make money lah. So maybe we thought that some retail that can support the mosque a little bit. So we added the space below can have all this, and then in the middle, the middle part, the 30 SV site, we can put more car parks. So in the end, we ended up with about 700 car parks. But also the most important thing is that now people can go to the mosque without having to cross the road. I mean, it's pedestrian friendly, it's safe, and it actually meets what Putrajaya's vision was, a pedestrian city, a garden city. Alhamdulillah, Putrajaya agreed, and I got another project, the Qiblat Walk in the middle. Okay, next. And we gave you Shade of Clouds. This was basically the title of the lecture, but it's also our concept. It's verse 57, part of the verse 57 in Surah Al-Baqarah. It basically tells a story during Prophet Musa alayhi salam's time, during his travels in the desert with his followers. When he was moving through the desert, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was always providing shade for him when he was traveling through the desert in the form of these clouds. So that fit well with what we had to do. Basically, we had to do somewhat a naturally ventilated mosque, and also it had to be open. And how do we achieve this? Basically, the clouds in our mosque is the roof. The big roof that spans across the main prayer hall, those are the clouds. Next. Transparency is another idea that is related to this openness of the building now. Why transparency is basically because we as humans, we can't do anything without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knowing. You know, He will know everything that we do in a room, behind a curtain, downstairs, upstairs, in a car. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will always know. You may not tell anybody, but He will always know. So in that sense, we are always transparent. He can see right through us. And that idea of transparency goes well with the openness, the open nature of the building. So I saw the image on top. It was from the GKD catalog. How the building takes a different life, different, it is different daytime and at night. And how we achieve this transparency is basically through our lighting, how we light the building. There are no facade lighting on my building. All the lighting comes from inside. It's actually basically just general lighting from inside, and it glows to the outside. So you can see the two images here. Daytime it takes on one form, and at night it becomes alive. You know, it takes on a different character, similarly to the image above. And that's all achieved by lighting. Next. Passive cooling is a very important idea that we had to tackle because it cannot be aircon, so we had to think of ways how to cool this. We achieved it through shading with the roof, reflection of solar heat, also through the roof and screens. Ground cooling, meaning actually there are trees. There was supposed to be a lot of trees, but the tree never grew for some reason. Natural cooling, because along the lake the wind is quite strong. Water and evaporative cooling, which is basically cooling through water. Whether that worked or not at the end of the day is a different thing, you know. Next. These are our early sketches also, and you know, in desert dwellings, you know, when the hot air goes through the mashrabiyah, correct me if I'm wrong. You know, people put water at the window so that the air comes cooler. You know, so that is basically the concept to have the water body around the main prayer hall. Not just that, at the end of the day, the water body also acts as a rain catcher, so to speak, because it's an open mosque. We know the wind is strong, but we don't know how far the wind will carry the water in, actually. So we allow about a space of about almost 12 meters, that water body. Plus, it works well. I didn't explain earlier because when we were starting, somebody, I can't remember who it was, raised the idea of, can we have another mosque over water? You know, I don't know why people are so fascinated with that. But we can't, because our site actually, the front of the site had a promenade, which is outside our boundary. So actually, essentially is not a mosque over the water. It's a mosque by the water, yes. But by having this water body around the main prayer hall, our pond and the lake become seamless. It becomes like it's like the lake comes into the mosque. With the infinity edge pool, we managed to achieve that. And I think a lot of people admired that. And in fact, after a while, we were asked to close down the edge. People kept falling off into the pool, because they're not concentrating. Next. Oh wait. Islam as a progressive religion. Okay. Yeah, we wanted to portray that as well, because this was in 2002, which is about a year after the fateful 9/11 events. And at that time, the whole world was looking at Islam in a negative way. Islam is backward, Islam is barbaric, Islam is all these things. But Islam is actually a beautiful religion. The Quran, what's in the Quran is actually adaptable through times. Thousands of years ago and thousands of years in the future, it will be adaptable. So how do we achieve this? In the Quran also there is a verse, Al-Hadid 25, basically it says, and we send down iron, in which material is used for war and many benefits as well for mankind. Steel is a subset of iron. So steel, the material is mentioned in the Quran. So it's something that we could use in our project, and I feel that because it's mentioned in the Quran, it's good to try and use it as much as you can. But that was not the reason why we use steel, not because of this, because I found this out later. Okay, next. We use steel, by the way, because of constructability. To achieve that space, it's easier to use steel than to use reinforced concrete. So how do we show Islam as progressive religion? Is through use of materials, steel structure, stainless steel, flash opal glass, the white ones, anti-reflective glass that's used on the mihrab wall, the cable net structure that goes with the mihrab wall as well, the stainless steel mesh, the compressed glass slabs, the white marble-like stone. That's how we portrayed it, the use of material. Next. A space that is serene and khushuk. Now the interior, next. The interior had to be, interior space has to achieve this, it has to achieve a certain serenity and tranquility, so that your prayers, the prayers of the Jama'ahs, can achieve this khushuk level. It's protected by the mashrabiyah around it, and so that you can concentrate in performance of your prayers. And the loftiness of the space is basically to make the worshippers feel small in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that you feel humble, and then no one is mightier than Allah. That's why we brought it up. In fact, it was much higher than this, what has been completed. There was a phase we had to do some value engineering. So we brought the height of the whole building down by about 10 meters or so. The left is our initial perspective, and the right photo is the completed picture. Almost there. Next. Some basic drawings. As mentioned, we lifted up the main prayer hall level, so we created all this space below for the car parks, the retail on the right here, the function room. We have quarters as well, the Janazah room and all that stuff, and then on the Qibla walk is all the car parks. Next. In the middle level, second level, level 28, is where all the wudu's and the toilets are, and the first floor of the quarters. Next. And then the main prayer hall, which is roughly the same level than Putrajaya office. So basically this level is just for the house of prayers, except for the front part where we have the office and visitors cloakroom. Next. The upper level praying areas. Next. And the roof. Yeah. Okay, next. The section here. It's the front elevation as you see as you walk from the Qiblat walk. Next. The lakeside elevation. Okay. Great. Okay, next. Coming out with the dome design was a bit tricky in the beginning because one, we didn't want to do another onion dome or typical mosque dome. What was a modern dome to us then? So we did some studies. We looked at, I can't remember which mosque that was. That was the Rome Mosque on the right, the National Mosque, Kuala Lumpur. They're all quite modern. But in the end, we agreed to develop the ribbed dome, the one at the bottom, second from below. We developed from that. Next. These are some models that we did in the early beginning, 2003. Okay, this is one of the factory visits that we went during the construction. This is a picture of it. That structure there you see, with the vertical, that is the ring beam. It's actually so big that it came out of the factory itself. The height of the ring beam is just 2.5 meters. You can comfortably walk inside there. So they were assembling it because what happens was that everything, all the steel structure, the good thing about steel structure is you can do it off-site. You assemble everything off-site and then you bring it in parts. And then it accelerates your construction very quickly. So this is done while the RC structure of the building was coming up slowly. So this was already done. Next. This is how the basically the construction of it. So we have the columns, and then a box beam first, the one with the double truss, and then the round ring beam, and then the trusses for the dome sits on the round ring beam. The round ring beam actually has a catwalk which you can walk around, not for public, for maintenance purposes. Next. The beauty of steel structure is that, look at how light it is, how small it is. It's very light. And that's the scale. That man standing at the edge there, that's the scale. That's about, the truss depth at the edge is about almost 1.8 meters. Coming up with the right proportion was quite tricky also. Because of the size of the building, we had to overscale certain things. And then when we did that, the trusses, it's very light because everything was steel structure and the metal deck roofs. It's very light. In fact, we were called in when the structure was going up. We were called in by, I think, Bomber, They asked us, hey, why your structure so small? No, so that we managed to do it with the steel structure because we use smaller sections but thicker sections, so that's how we kept it small. Next. This is the construction of the Kala sphere, a bit like a spaceship. The calligraphy was later cut into the stainless steel sphere and then assembled. The calligraphy Allah on the top left is the center crest at the underside of the dome, which was later acid etched into the stainless steel thing. And then that's the mask, and this is what it looks like. So when we cut it out, we in acrylic at the back. There is a light there. I don't know whether ever change the maintain the light source line. I mean, I don't know whether they want to go up there or not. It's supposed to glow at night as well. Next. This is just construction pictures of what it looked like as we were progressing. Next. The construction, the roof. Next. And this is what it looks like when it's completed. And internally, the main E1. Okay, next. The main E1 basically is E1 is basically the main gateway. Is the main entrance statement for the mosque. So over here, what we had was in the gateway. It was just a simple gateway actually. We needed an entrance statement to signify this is your center door. So, but what we did additionally was we just add the Asma'ul Husna, the 5 arches, arches, which basically represented the 5 tenets of Islam, and graced with the 99 names of Allah. Wait, just wanna. The calligraphy is actually made out of solid aluminium, 20mm thick, anodized finish, laid on top of stainless steel, halide stainless steel plate. Next. Actually, when we were developing this, those arches at the back, the crisscrossing arches was not there in the beginning. It came in later when we were developing our tender drawings. We thought when we were doing the section, we looked at it and this looks quite empty here. You know? So what do we put in there? Then we thought about the time when Rasulullah SAW had to hide in Gua Hira. He was protected by the spider web. So we thought, let's do something like that. At the entrance of the mosque, a web-like structure. It came out quite well actually, I think, in my opinion, at least. That's what it is. And on the left side, actually I made a small mistake here. I don't know whether you all can see it. There's a mistake here. If you look at the left picture, the front arch is not the same radius as the rest. Yeah, that's a mistake on my part, and it just only shows that I'm only human at the end of the day. I don't know whether it's better if it's the same or it's better like that. Wallahu alam. Yeah, I think if I didn't point it out, you would know, right? But it bothered me for a long time. And then when I saw this again, lama. The grills, the stainless steel grills actually was a watered down version of what we wanted to do. You know, it was actually a bigger, bolder box type of grill. It was about 450mm thick. In the end, we had to cut down cost. It was part of value engineering. It was still a X-Men type of pattern. Next. Mashrabiyah. Mashrabiyah is basically a screen. Those images up there are taken from a Islamic art book, amazing book that we have in our office. Mashrabiyah is basically a screen like the image on the top left. It's a screen over the windows. It's a screen that is used in interior spaces to divide spaces between male and female. This is quite common that you see in the Middle East. Or I saw it quite a lot when I was in Morocco. They use it quite a lot. But when we look at the type of pattern we wanted to use for the Mashrabiyah, there's all these geometric designs, Islamic geometric design. We said to ourselves, we don't want to use the normal flowery geometry on top there. Then we found this more, I don't know what you call it, more regular type of, more rectangular and more modern type of pattern. And we also saw this, which is something in Malaysia, which is, I think it's more Chinese than itu. So there is that relationship between Islamic and Malaysia here a little bit. So we decided to develop on that rectangular geometry. Next. So this was our first few sketches that we did. What if we took it directly from that, and what if we rationalize the structure a bit, and what if we rationalize it again? But I think in the end we just maintain the as it was from the direct translation of the pattern. Next. So that's a model that we did in the beginning, but this was the earlier model before we came out with this this pattern. And that's a detail of the GKD Escalade 7x1 stainless steel mesh that we used to infill behind the mashrabiyah. It's like a curtain fabric. That's what it is. Next. These were the early renderings. Earlier we had the mashrabiyah coming down basically almost all the way down to the floor. Then later on I felt let's bring it up a bit so that people can see beyond the mosque. So it was raised up to 3 meters above the finished floor level of the main prayer hall. Next. This is the construction of it. The picture on the right here basically shows how it's assembled. It comes in parts. It comes in about 3.5 meter sections. They were all assembled in factory first, and then in these parts are brought to the site and assembled one by one. You can see this picture here that it's the bottom part is being fixed, and then they will bring the second one up. Eventually, the whole mashrabiyah is completed. The whole, actually not the mashrabiyah. This is the lattice work, the steel lattice work. The GKD metal stainless steel fabric will come in after that. Next. And then this is what it looks like now. The mihrab wall. Okay, next. We approached the mihrab wall differently from what other mosques has done. We showed this image to our clients because we wanted the ayat on the wall to glow and to appear floating, as if they were the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala coming down to His Prophet. But we tested a few ways to do it. Next. And these were the early renderings. The one on the left is the earlier one, this is later. So we wanted the ayat to glow, but when we see this rendering, we thought, okay, the back wall, which is made of stone, doesn't have that effect of floating or is it coming down. So it does glow with the help of a light, but this rendering can do anything. But in real life, it's not easy. Next. So we did some small mock-ups, tests. This basically is a piece of calligraphy that was laser engraved into the center of the glass. And then using LED lights from the side or on top, it can glow. But this is small. This is only about 450 by 450. Eventually the glass panel was about 1.5 meters by 1.5. And at that time, LED technology was still quite new. So it didn't have, we were afraid that it didn't have the capacity to light up the whole ayat. If you can see here in the blue one that at the sides it's bright, but at the center it's getting dim already. And this is small. So if it was bigger, I mean, we don't know how it was going to be. But in the end, when we got the course, it was way too expensive. Next. The calligraphy was written by hand, actually, by a very famous or very well-known Malaysian calligraphy artist, Ustaz Muhammad Yusof Abu Bakar. He did all that by hand, full scale. And we have rows and rows of it in our office actually right now. And then we thought, how do we do this? I mean, we can't just give the contractors these things, so we had to digitize it, of course. Digitize it, scan it, trace it again, have it on AutoCAD, so that we can use it. Next. So for the mihrab wall, I had to basically put everything onto the correct glass panel, to position it nicely. So this is the drawing that when I positioned the ayat onto the glass panels. And the difference between doing this and putting the ayat on a solid wall is that in glass there's a gap. There's a gap because glass cannot be too close. So the gap is about 15 millimeters or something like that. So it's important for us to get it right, because if the gap comes at a critical area and the letters are lost, then you might read something else and I'll be in trouble. So next. So basically I had to go through every single joint, and in some cases I adjusted it. You look at the one on the left here, the top, the lam. Now imagine if it was right in the middle of the joint, the letter would be lost. So I had to adjust. I think I did adjust that, moved it a bit to the left. And everything we had to go through every single letter properly, so that the ayat, the curves are nice and natural and all that stuff. Next. And then we had to do a mock-up of it at site. So we printed on a banner, laid it up high, because we were not sure whether it's legible enough. It was legible. Next. This was, on the left picture is when we went to Germany because this was done in Germany, the script writing. The one seated with the grey jacket is the Ustaz Muhammad Yusof. He's the calligraphy artist. The one standing in the black jacket is the Imam Besar of Masjid Negara Ben, Tan Sri Sheikh Ismail. So he came along to verify all the calligraphy. And he pointed out 2 mistakes here in the center crest, the Shahada. So it got cut off and one symbol is missing or something like that. Next. So this was the coating done already onto the glass. Next. The other thing that was important in how we did the ayat on this mihrab wall is the structure of the glass. We couldn't have a normal structure with mullions and tramzins and all that stuff, because it would be too busy and you will not be able to read the ayat. So I had to source who can give me this smaller structure which will not compete with the ayat itself. So we came out with a cable net structure. It's basically a stainless steel cable at the back. You can't even see it. You can just see it here, the horizontal lines there. Stainless steel cable supports the whole glass structure there. The only thing you see, that one is unavoidable, the clamps, the square boxes at the corners. So I think in the end that was the best solution. You don't see any structures, anything impeding the ayat at all in the end. The coating could have been better, because you can see it's a bit uneven, but okay lah. Next. This is the mihrab itself. the recess, the center recess at the Merak wall. They assembled it for us for inspection before they were shipped over for last minute checking and corrections. This again was in Germany as well. Next. In the end, I think the structure for the glass wall came out well. You didn't really see the structure except for the clamps. The lights, although it's anti-reflective glass, but can't do anything about the lights lah. It's not zero reflection anti-reflective glass. It's less than 1% or something like that. Normal glass is about 8%. Next. Oh yeah, just go back. In the end, there was no light at all shining onto the ayat, because we felt that we tried a few times when we have floodlights or what, or you can't read after that. So we felt that just leave it as it is with the general lighting of the mosque. That's the best. Next. Next. I was inspired by one of my visits to this mosque here. This is the Rome Mosque and Islamic Center, designed by Paulo Portuguese or something like that. It's a beautiful structure internally, but this was done in precast concrete. They can do it there, and it's so beautiful. It's magnificent, actually. So I was inspired by that to how I want to treat the interior of my mosque. Also, the form of my columns and arches, we decided to use the form of the oil palm, because Putrajaya before it was developed, it was an oil palm plantation. So it's like an homage or a historical reference to what the site was before. Next. These are the arches at the main prayer hall. It's big, everything is like oversized there. When you're down there, you don't feel it how big it is, but actually when we were doing, we saw it. It's big. The whole factory at that time had all the steel work for us only. All those steel at the back, those are all the arches that were made for us. Next. Now the steel structure actually begins above the last floor level, basically. So this is the last floor level in the main prayer hall is the upper level of the praying hall area. So the steel structure sits on top of the column pad about 3 meters above for that level. Again, you see the steel structure is quite small. It's very light looking. At the end of the day, the column, when it's finished, is 2.4 meters by 2.4 meters. It's actually bigger than my maid's room, actually. It's big inside there. You don't see it because the scale of things has been overblown, if anything. Next. More pictures. And then, we clad with this compressed glass slabs. Compressed glass slabs basically is a man-made material from China that we got. It's made of the same material that you make glass with. And I think they add some color pigments to it. So you get the white color, you get the gray colors, you get the beige colors. We chose white because white represents purity and stuff like that. Again, you see the roof trusses, very small actually. Next. The arches in the Sahan, the columns and arches are slightly different from the main prayer hall. The arches are cladded here. The main prayer hall, the arches are not cladded because it's so high up, you can't see what it is. So we felt that we will just paint it over. You can save a few million there. So, but the one at the lower level at the arches, we clad it with stainless steel composite panels. Again, it's very small. But when it comes to the column head, it's very tricky here to finish this off because so many elements are coming down to a small area. But eventually we managed to do it. Next. This picture just shows the size of the column. That's almost 2.4 by 2.4, this column here. But the sections are small. Next. More pictures of that. These columns are actually fabricated at the factory like in this form. So it's brought already in that form, brought to site and lifted up, placed onto the pad. Even the arches, the arches comes in single arch, but when it arrives on site, we join the two arches together and then we lifted it up. Next. There's more pictures of the construction. We had to have a very big truss above the mihrab wall to hold that cable neck structure, because the cable neck structure is taking out a lot of load. So the truss has to be quite strong. It's a double truss also. Next. And that's what we get when we finished it. Next. And some additional photos. These are basically lighting photos. I like to look at my mosque at night actually. I think it's better at night. So these are some of the photos we took when we were studying the lights. The grill creates a very nice shadow effect after that. Next. Next. I don't know whether you've been there at night, but if you notice, next, the mosque is actually not that bright. We purposely did it like that to keep it. It was more like mood lighting, you know. Next, there's no down lights or general lighting, especially in this area. Lights are holding at the column, but it's quite dark actually, because your eyes will adjust to the lighting level slowly as you go in. We had a very good lighting designer actually. Next. Next. These are pictures of the sun. Next. Next. The lantern, or the chandelier, whatever you want to call it, that was custom design. Next. So it's fabricated for, we designed it and it was fabricated for this project only. The roof actually has a series of catwalk inside it, the ceiling space. So you can actually access to all these lanterns from within the roof space for maintenance purposes. Whether they do it or not, I'm not sure. Next. This is the upper level praying area. Next. Lighting at the mirror. We in the end, I mean, originally I wanted to have the lights from behind, so that the geometric patterns would come out, but there was too many frames at the back and it was not feasible, so we just decided to just light it from the outside. But that back wall has got lighting at the back, which I think they never turned it on. Next. This is the center crest, just to show that. This is the detail of our chandelier lantern and everything. I think at the end of the day, with the lighting and all, I don't know, I may be biased because I'm the architect. I think it does have this imposing feel on you when you're down there, you know. The greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you can feel it. As I, again, I might be biased, but I think it do work. Next. pictures from the outside. As I said, that we don't have any facade lighting outside to light up our screens or what. We don't have any of that. Everything is, all the lighting is from inside, glowing, coming out outside. Next. This is the side entrances actually. Next. 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 Now, Putrajaya has different modes of lighting. I believe this is the highest level of lighting mode, like this is the festival mode or something like that. Next. This was early on taken. That signboard in the middle there spoils everything, but I think it's been taken away. No, the idea is actually when you're standing at the Pintu Gerbang Perbadanan Budaya or at the edge somewhere, you can see right through and see the mihrab at the end, on a good day at least. The Qibla walk, unfortunately, the trees didn't grow that well, so it didn't come out as the way we had envisioned it. Next. And yeah, the transparent nature of the mosque is all here to see. Next. Well, these are the team that's involved, you know. Our client is the Perbadanan, but the owner is Jakim. Next. We got 2 awards for this project. Steel Awards, Malaysia Time Architecture Steel Awards for interior, and Short Glass Design Awards. And yeah, next. Basically, that comes to an end to my talk. Thank you very much, and I hope I didn't bore you. Anything. Thank you so much. Thank you, and I don't know, am I supposed to take questions? Yeah, okay, fine, sure.
Alright, students, we are open for Q&A session. So anyone have question can raise up your hand.
Guys, ask questions. Please, you're free.
Hello. So may I know why your mosque doesn't have any minarets?
Okay, good question. We had minarets in the beginning. When we started our concept, we had 4. Then at tender, at contract, at award of contract, we had 2. And then the Prime Minister changed. Tun Mahathir stepped down. Abdullah Badawi came up as Prime Minister. He stopped projects in Putrajaya because of cost, budget overruns and all that stuff. So to move the project, we had to cut costs. We had to value engineer. Minarets were one of the first to go. You can still, I mean, if one day, hopefully, inshallah, one day if there's a lot of money to be spent, you can continue the minaret actually, because the structure, the foundation is capable of taking the minaret. But yeah, we had to cut costs substantially. I think in the end I managed to cut costs about 40 million. Minarets were taken out, buildings were lowered, changes of specs. You know, but we didn't reduce area because they didn't allow us to reduce area. The best way to cut costs normally is to reduce area, but we were not allowed because 20,000 capacity remains 20,000 capacity. So, but there were a lot of, the roof was reduced. The roof at the Sahan actually, the roof at Memorial Hall was not. Some specs, finishes were changed. The lesser ones, but the features were maintained. The features, the specs for the features were maintained. But yeah, that's why. Any other questions? If you notice the mosque I did after that, the Al-Damasalah mosque, that one has no domes. That was by design.
Okay, maybe I ask my question since no one wants to ask. Actually, I have a lot of questions.
Go ahead.
Should I use the mic or? For me, this is a very significant mosque because personally, it touched me personally because when I visited this mosque in 2017, first time, it really have different, how to say that? It's different from the mosque that I have seen in Middle East and the mosque, the traditional mosque that we have seen before. So it's quite different, and maybe the color of the steel itself is given different signature for this mosque. But when we have been there, by the way, my students here, we went there and it was like around 12 p.m. It was really hot outside. But when we entered the mosque, all of us felt very cool. So no one wanted to leave the mosque. I remember I asked them, let's go out, they refused. We feel really cool. Cool in a way that it's not really cold, it's not really hot.
It's comfortable.
Very comfortable. So when you design this, is that the plan to reach this point?
Yeah. I mean, we cannot aircon it, so it was a very difficult. It was very difficult for us to come to that to achieve that comfort level that we want to achieve. Yes, we had some what they call some air blowing in, which I don't think they ever switched it on. Also, you know, but on a right day, you know, it's very comfortable. Right? When the wind's blowing, it's very comfortable. And that's why the big roof, the cloud of ours, I think works in that sense. When you have this kind of buildings, you know, it's a big hall. That hall can take 12,000 jemaah. So yeah, yeah. The glass slabs, the compressed glass slab is a very cooling material also, because when we do construction, we don't know about that material. It was quite a new material then. So what we did, we took one of the slab samples, just put it out in a hot sun for 1 year, you know, and then one day we all decided, let's just tap on it, you know. It was cool. It was not hot at all. During a hot day, it was still cool. So I think that may have an effect. I don't know, you know. But mainly I think it's the fact that it is well shaded, you know, and the dome reflects a lot of the heat as well. Because the dome is actually stainless steel, the whole dome, the finish, mirror and brush finish. So maybe that helps a bit. You know. Maybe again the water body helps also. You know. But as I said, you know, even if the water does not cool the air temperature, doesn't help cool the air temperature, looking at the water itself already psychologically gives you that comfort, you know.
It's really amazing. Congratulations. This is one of
Thank you.
very how to say that, one of the most interesting mosques.
Thank you.
Within the Putra mosque is amazing and everything, but
It's different. It's very different.
you know what I love.
Yeah, it's very different. You know, I mean, even the choice of the material palette that we choose is all very different to Putra Mosque. We said to ourselves, let's not do a Putra Mosque when we want to do something modern. You know, even if the Putrajaya complex was a traditional building, we would still have done this. Yeah, we just in a way out of the box thinking, and I think. You know. But I don't know whether it would be different if that guideline wasn't there, that only one mosque can be aircon in. I don't know whether it would be different. I don't know. But I guess the fact that it's naturally ventilated is shaped, it helps the JAKIM, the owners, with their electricity bill actually. I mean, if that hall is to be air conditioned, imagine the cost. This was before all the green building efforts, and I think it's quite green, so in that sense.
That is right. I believe that the concept of the mosque itself should not be costly or something that have put into the government or to the users or something like that. It should be like something like this, which is operated using its own energy, right? Naturally, you have to teach them as we think about all sustainable.
Sustainable design.
Yeah, I think this is part of it, right?
Yeah,
This is natural material,
I mean,
natural ventilation.
the fact that we didn't do that, and then we still achieve what we want to achieve, the comfort levels, it saves the government a lot of money there already. Actually, they're only running aircons for their office actually and the retail area. just a small area.
Okay, guys, more questions? Mr. Umi, one of our lecturers.
Okay, thank you. That my friend. Oh, okay. Isasha, Okay, actually, I've been staying in Putrajaya for 16 years dah. So I'm orang Putrajaya. It's a bit. What I'm gonna ask you is actually a bit personal, but I also want to give my personal punya ni lah. Actually, I love the Putrajaya Mosque because it doesn't have minaret. Personally lah, I don't think why we need a minaret, because if it's not functioning, not practical lah anymore. It's a symbol, but yeah, but I'm a bit practical lah kan. So I like it because it's different from other mosques. Secondly kan, I really love the interior, the natural ventilation part. And then another part yang I really love is the wuduk punya area dekat the lower ground tu. I didn't see you it's actually it's very beautiful. If you go to the mosque, go to the wuduk area. It's just that the wuduk area is for the male. There's no female. Allah, for who want to experience beautiful things, but the beautiful thing is given to the male Muslim. So I go there and say, oh cantik, it's like wow cantik, but when I go to have my wudu, alamak, the normal line kan, the male wudu is the circular tu. I tak jumpa pun. But I small one. You have many those lighting. So that's why lah. I love the mosque. It's just that maybe we really macam very macam hopefully lah kan, we can have more better experience space lah. Okay. But okay.
Actually, yeah. The designer that designed the wudu area actually is a lady. Yeah, I didn't have any pictures of the wudu because I didn't, in my library, I didn't have some nice pictures of it. Actually, there's an idea, a concept behind the wudu areas as well. If you notice, if you go there, the corridor outside the wudu is quite dark. It's intentionally like that. Because the idea is when you approach the wudu areas, the wudu area in the middle, when you look in front, you see that round wudu area at the front there, it's very bright. The idea is that you start to concentrate on your performance of your prayers, because the performance of the prayer starts with taking the ablution, the wudu. So that's as important as the prayers, because if you don't have wudu, you cannot pray anyway. So we did it like that, so that we highlighted the wudu areas. In fact, if you notice also the shoe racks are designed in such a way that it's like in a wedge shape, so it's like leading you towards the wudu areas. And it's dark and it's bright on the other end. I've not been into the ladies' wudu area for a very long time, so I don't know how it is now. But we do have one, a smaller version of that round thing. That is actually supposed to represent to be like a telaga lah, like the well, that in traditional kampung. Also, originally it had water flowing on top, coming out also, but we thought cut cost also lah, cut cost because maintenance might be an issue later, so we just took it out. Yeah, but I apologize if if it became like that. I think you're not the first actually to tell me that. Somehow it just ended up like that. Other questions?
I think I agree with her about the minaret. I feel it really looks nice as it is. I don't want to imagine what will happen.
I think at the end of the day, it has worked out well without the minarets. it would have been different lah, of course. But I think it came out better as a modern building without the minarets. Yeah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First and foremost, I would like to thank you, Architecnic, for coming over, because I'm been chasing you about, I talked to Susan, where are you? Oh, overseas. Okay lah, never mind. Take your time and take your date. Okay, actually, I would like to congratulate you, and I hope this lecture is not the first for you and not the last. I hope that you will come again. Knowing that you have that strength to give a talk to the student, I think we will invite you more often lah. I think that, of course, because I was... Maybe I'll give you a different subject, different topic, because I used to work with with you, kan, Eddie. I can see the different, the modern version and the older version. That I can see two mosques is coming up. Now you are not competing, but you are showing that the era that you are in. That's what we call it, technologies. When you bring in all these IBS precast, it's totally different from Putra Mosque that I saw in your design. I don't have a chance to visit during the construction. I was busy with PNO and PMR at that time. Okay, masa tu kan? No, I left already. But I'm glad that you're coming over. I don't know, I still miss your the office. Yeah, we were the same place. And then to inform you, actually, this is something that not any of you know, most of you know. When we developed this program for Bachelor of Architecture, actually I called Datuk to be one of our advisor. And then Datuk is always helping me in doing that. Even until now, I think he still remember me, the only girl at that time, the only girl in the office. Okay, thank you, Architecnic. Hopefully you come again.
Inshallah, thank you very much, Professor Subhanu.